Hi everyone, this is Igor from Savoie Wine Merchant in Walnut Creek. Today I'm going to do a pretty cool interview with Paul from Pierreclos Imports. He imports wine from France and a little bit from Switzerland. So I think it'll be a fun conversation to get a little bit of feedback and some of the wines that I brought into store from him. So he's about to join us. Hey, Paul, how are you?
Hey, how are you? Good.
Good. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Hey, let's jump in and talk a little bit about you. How did where are you from, and how did you get into this importing business?
So I'm from the Mâconnais area in France, which is south of Burgundy. So right next to Pouilly-Fuissé, Saint-Véran, Villers-Clécy. This area, my parents are winemaker there, and I studied wine, so winemaking and vineyards management down there at school in Burgundy. And in 2015, I came over here as an intern in Sonoma for only 3 months. And at that time, I met my girlfriend at that time, and she's my wife today. And
Very nice.
it's how do you say that here? Like long story short, now I live here, and I decided to bring my parents' wine here.
Yeah.
Just to with my business partner that I met as well when I was intern at that winery, Alejandro, and so together we decided to bring just at the beginning my parents' wine, so one Chardonnay, one Gamay, and little by little we extended to other producer, so friends that I met at school back in France, who are not imported and who kind of have the same profile. They're about my age and taking over their parents' winery, basically.
Well, before we jump into some of the wines that I have here, I have 3 wines here. Can you talk a little bit about your parents' winery?
Yeah.
That's kind of the general area, and what type of grapes do they make into wine?
So it started back with my grandfather. So my grandfather would have been 110 years old right now. So it started when he came back from World War II. And so in the Mâconnais already, and only with a little bit of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And at that time, it was more like a farm situation where they had a few goats and a cow, and it was not a full-time job having vineyards. And little by little, he got more focused in the wine production. And after that, my dad took over. My dad is 63 today, so he's about to be retired. That's soon. And my brother is about to take over now. So we mainly produce today Chardonnay still, with, I would say, 70 to 75% Chardonnay, with some Saint-Véran, a little bit of, a lot of Macon Village appellation. And on top of that, we have a little bit of Pinot Noir, Gamay from Burgundy, and some Aligoté, the other white grape varieties from there.
Oh, very nice. All right, well, let's jump in. I have some of the wines that I picked up from you here. So if you could give a little information, like you were saying about the winemakers. Obviously, it's France, the region, and the grape. So I think let's start with the fun one from Switzerland. So
yeah,
I have here
the Chasselas.
Yes.
So like I said, everybody we are importing is our friends that I met either at school or people I work with before. So when I was studying wine marketing in south of France, I had about 6 months of internship in Switzerland, where I met so Ludovic, who is the guy who produced the wine you just showed, And so at that time, he was the enologue in this big cellar where I was intern too, and that's how we met. Now it's 7 years or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And since I moved here, he did his own thing too, and he just started to purchase some wine. I mean, some grapes from a wine grower in Switzerland, and makes his own label and his own brand. So this is 100% Chasselas, which is like the main, I would say, the more known grape variety in Switzerland in white.
Yeah.
So that's a big chunk of the production in Switzerland is Chasselas. I don't know the percentage, but it's pretty high. And they call it Fondant. That's the name. When they talk about Fondant wine, it's a Chasselas. Chasselas grapes. So it's organic. It's a very small production. Yeah. Very small production. It's fermented and aged in stainless steel. They don't go through malolactic, and it's, I mean, you tell me, but it's very bright and nice acidity. Obviously, the vineyards in Switzerland are pretty high up, and the weather is definitely not California weather. It's definitely cooler. And
so we're talking about the Alps. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's in the Valley, which is the name of the region. The Valley. Yeah. VALAIS. Yeah. And it's the little pocket between France and Italy, right there.
Yeah.
So it's high altitude. It's actually the very beginning of the Rhone Valley. The Rhone runs through it.
Yeah.
But that's just the beginning of it. And there is some microclimate there. So in the bottom of the valley, they grow a lot of apricot and strawberries. But on the hillside, there is all the vineyards.
Yeah, and that's the Alpine wine, so mountainous, really refreshing. That's kind of like a lot of the profiles, either from obviously Switzerland, Italy has the wineries in the Alps, so that's kind of the combination. So and Chasselas, when I think of Swiss grapes, that's typically the grape that I think of. I'm not really familiar with that many other indigenous grapes. Is it indigenous to Switzerland? I'm not even sure.
There is a lot of local grapes. The other one I'm bringing from the same producer is a Petite Arvine. Mm-hmm. It's a white as well. Very, very local. It only grows in Switzerland. It's a different style. It's more between a Viognier and a Chardonnay to me.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of other grape varieties like Humagne. Humagne is only in Switzerland. They have a red and a white.
Yeah.
They have a very high-end kind of red grapes, Cornalin.
Yeah.
It's a lot of local grapes. I mean, they have all the grapes that everybody knows, like Syrah, Merlot, Pinot.
Yeah.
They have some Chardonnay. They have everything, plus all the extra one they grow from there.
So a lot of cool climate grapes for the most part.
Yeah.
All right, well, very cool. Thank you on that one. Here, let's jump to the sparkling wine. So once again, if you could kind of tell us about the producer and where it's from, and actually the style of this wine, because the style is really unique.
Yeah. So Cerdon, that's the appellation. So we're back in France. It's not a Swiss wine anymore, but it's not far away from Switzerland. It's right at the border. So you have Burgundy, right? And if you go east, you have the Jura. And if you go a little south of that, you have the Bugey, where this wine's from, and you have all the Alpine kind of other producers. So it's very in between the Jura and Switzerland, but on the French side.
Yes.
And this is so Cerdon. That's just the way it's the name of the appellation there to say it's a sparkling wine, traditional. It's actually ancestral, méthode ancestrale, so traditional method.
Can I jump in for a second? Can you kind of explain? So is that exactly like champagne, or there's a variation in this method ancestral?
There is a little variation. It's not so. It's more like a pet nat, but they actually disgorge it too.
Okay.
But it's a slightly different. Especially in the way that it's very low alcohol. It's 8% on that one, so it's like pretty low for wine in general.
Yes.
And also the grapes are in that one, I believe, is 95% Gamay and 5% Prussard.
That's correct.
Which is Prussard. It's a red grape from the Jura, so they're very tied up with the Jura area, especially in the grape varieties. So this one you have the Cerdon is, I would say, like 95% of the production of the Bugey area. That's what it is. It's the main thing they produce there.
The sparkling type of wine.
Yeah. Okay. And it has to be sweet. I mean, off dry. Yeah. This is not crazy sweet, because when you taste it, actually the acidity is pretty high up and pretty well balanced. But it's mostly, I think it's between 22, 24 grams per liter. So it's definitely off dry, but the acidity balances it pretty well back.
Oh, it's pretty, yeah. It's pretty, you're right. Yeah, when we tasted it, it's definitely off dry, but definitely a unique wine.
Yeah.
So, fun stuff. All right, so finally, one of my favorite wines is regions. It's Riesling from Alsace. So this is Grand Cru Frankstein. So you know what I thought was interesting about this wine is that Alsace, I think, has 51, 52 Grand Crus, and I don't know that many Grand Crus in the U.S. that are from this Grand Cru Frankstein. So yeah, can you kind of talk a little bit about the producers? And this Grand Cru.
Yeah. So same story. I met the producer. I mean, who is the producer now? Back at school when I was in France, and so he's about my age, Mathieu, and he's taking over his parents' winery also, because his dad is about to be retired. So it's right next to Colmar. So Colmar is like right in Alsace, about 30 minutes west of Germany, the border of Germany. And so the village where they make the wine here, it's Blinchwiller. Don't ask me to spell it, because it's a pretty long one. And it's right next to Colmar, so very small traditional village. The Grand Cru is actually not from that village. It's a little bit aside of it, but it's known to be very like light Riesling, pretty, not as much as Pierreclos you can get like in other Riesling, like very floral, actually more floral than others. It is certified organic, and well, the previous one, the two other ones were certified organic too.
Okay.
Anyway, and so this one, it's a pretty small production. They hand picked and they fermented in stainless steel, and after they aged in those traditional massive big foudre. So it's like over like 400 gallons barrel, and yeah, that's about it. I mean, straight from the, you can definitely tell like it's a typical Grand Cru Frankstein, where it's very white flowers, like, and then like almost some peach in it.
And that's what I'm tasting right now. I think one of the distinctions about many Grand Crus is the soils that they grow on. So I think this is granite.
Granite, and they have this little black stone. I'm not sure it's the same word in English. I think it's plafs, but I'm not sure. It's like a granite and this little black stone in there too. I mean, Alsace soil and terroir is definitely complex. You drive 1 mile and it can be totally different. And it goes like that for 50 miles in a row. It's very different style. But this is mostly granite,
So it's unique, like you were saying. So the combination of the two soil types give it a particular distinction, which is there's 4 elements, and a lot of the Grand Cru Riesling, there could be either a lot of salinity or a lot of minerality, depending on the soils they're from. So this is, I think, maybe even easier to drink in its youth. But like, I think all the Rieslings from Grand Crus, they could last easily 10, 15 years. This is
1 to
8.
Well, this one is kind of fun because it's 18 and it's to me, ready to drink already. It's pretty nice right now, but you can when I was there, we tried the old vintage on it, and it's held up pretty well. It's a nice evolution. It gets a little more, brighter, like not brighter, but like riper fruits in your mouth, a little more, intense. But in general, it's aged very well.
Yeah.
And this one is dry. There is no sugar left in that one, and it's very crisp and aged well for sure.
No, it's beautiful. That's what I'm having right now. Hey, thank you so much, Paul. This was a fun conversation. Thank you for giving this overview. And I think everybody will enjoy listening to this one. So once again, thanks for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.